So basically, here's like a rundown on that, right? And the theme of Israelite festivals gets developed more in different parts of the book, right? But it starts here with the coming forth of the book. So we know that, the last time that Joseph goes to the hill, so in order to get the plates, it's September 22nd, 1827. So it's the date of the fall equinox. And it happens to be the day of the Feast of Trumpets, right? Or the start of the Feast of Trumpets, Rosh Hashanah. And this had been identified several years back by scholar Lynette Hadley Reed. But then as I was looking at other incidents right after this, what does Joseph do next with the interpreters and the plates, and what does he do after that, right? I started realizing that there were some patterns here. So one of the Smiths, let me back up 1 second. So what is Rosh Hashanah? That would be good to know. So Rosh Hashanah, or the Feast of Trumpets, is a festival that celebrates Moses getting the law on Mount Sinai. So when Moses goes up and he's on Sinai for 40 days to get the stone tablets that God touches, right? That's what the Feast of Trumpets is celebrating. So on that day, that's the day that Joseph goes up. He doesn't get stone tablets, right? He gets these golden tablets, right? But what does he do with them? Well, he actually does not bring them home immediately. He takes them, he finds a hollowed out log up on the hill, and he stashes the plates there in case he encounters anybody on the way home who, like, there were other people searching for the plates, and they may be trying to stop him. So he stashes the plates there, but he does bring home the interpreters from the stone box. So one of the Smith's neighbors tells us, Willard Chase, tells us what happened next. Joseph retrieves the plates from where he's hidden them on the hill, brings them home, reunites them with the interpreters. Well, what I noticed was that this actually brings us to the next date in the Jewish festival calendar. So the 10 days starting with Rosh Hashanah, or Feast of Trumpets, are known in Judaism as the Days of Awe. And that period ends with Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, on which the high priest would put on the sacred breastplate and the Urim and Thummim, right? And actually would put on a gold plate that was engraved with the words "Holiness to the Lord" on the front of his crown, right? And he would go into the Ark of the Covenant, into the Holy of Holies, to access the Ark of the Covenant. Well, that's the same day then, if it's 10 days after Feast of Trumpets, Joseph Smith is going on that day, the Day of Atonement, and recovering these engraved gold plates from the hill and bringing them home, along with now joining them back with the interpreters. So many years later, Lucy Mack Smith actually tells us what the next event was in the coming forth of the Book of Mormon after this event of bringing the plates home. So she says that Joseph then, a few days later, first used the interpreters. And she gives an exact date. She says that it was October 6th, 1827, which would have been 2 weeks from the day that Joseph first went to the hill. So that, it turns out, is the next day in the Jewish festival calendar. So this fall season, the beginning of fall, is actually like the biggest festival season in the Jewish calendar. You've got a series of 3 festivals in a row, right? And it's like to celebrate the harvest. So 14 days after the start of the Feast of Trumpets is the Feast of Tabernacles. So that would be the day that Joseph then looks in the interpreters and discovers that Martin Harris is supposed to help bring forth the Book of Mormon.
Oh.
And that Martin specifically is supposed to, like Joseph is supposed to transcribe some characters from the plates, and Martin is supposed to take those characters to the learned to see if they can translate them. He's supposed to take this journey with those characters. Now, the Feast of Tabernacles is actually a celebration of the Exodus that commemorates like the wandering in the wilderness of the Israelites, their journey through the wilderness. And so each of these three, so the first three events in the coming forth of the Book of Mormon, starting with Joseph recovering the plates, the first three events that involve the sacred relics, all happen on the days of the beginnings of these Jewish festivals. Right?
Wow.
And this somehow, like, never seen this before, right? It's there in the data.
And that can't be a coincidence. That can't just be a coincidence. It's impossible. I remember telling Martha when I read that, I was like, there's just no way it can be just a...
But it actually gets even better, right? So
wait, there's more.
So remember that I looked for what was the next event in the coming forth of the Book of Mormon, right? What's the next thing that happens with these sacred relics? Well, the next thing is that Joseph and Emma take the plates and they move. They get the plates out of harm's way. People are trying to steal them. They take the plates and they go down to Pennsylvania. Martin Harris gives us the date for that. It was November 1st. So I counted the number of days, okay? So between September 22nd, the day Joseph gets the plates from the hill, and November 1st, the day that he is allowed to take the plates and leave with them, is 40 days. Okay,
okay, I'm sure that is going to blow my mind here in a second.
And like 40 days, of course, is really significant in the Bible in a number of ways, right? Jesus is tempted in the wilderness for 40 days and so on, right? But remember that the Feast of Trumpets on September 22nd, when Joseph gets the plates, it commemorates the giving of the law on the stone tablets on Sinai. How long was Moses on Sinai to get the stone tablets of the law? It tells us in the Bible it was 40 days.
Whoa.
Okay. Coincidence?
No way.
No way. Absolutely not. Okay,
4 for 4 so far.
So part of, in making sense of the past, we look for patterns. There's a clear pattern here. There's a larger pattern going on. There's a larger picture, right? It's there. It's like hidden in plain sight.